Welcome to Time Ball Games. I'm ELD, here to ask you for help in growing the channel. When we reach 2,500 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a custom leather playmat to one lucky subscriber. So be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have Ben on Dreadstill, squaring off against Pile on Goblins. Pile mostly known for playing check pile and other Grixis / 4-color control decks. And here we've got a turn 2 Stifle Dreadnought. That is not what Goblins wants to see. And he's actually going to scoop it up. I am not sure that that's correct. We'll see as this unfolds. If there's any Sting Scourger in the main deck, that's an easy answer to that Dreadnought. 2 mana, 2/2 that bounces a creature back to its owner's hand. A very good opening for Dreadstill, and one that's very difficult for a lot of decks to beat. I mean, it really just often puts them into a situation where they have to draw a very narrow subset of cards in order to even have a chance, and of course, that makes your counter spells all the better. Turn 2 12/12s are quite a lot to deal with. At this point, I think Dreadstill's probably going to try out the new 2-mana sorcery that you can cast from your graveyard to draw 3. Really, Dreadstill's all about that bulk card advantage, and that's what Standstill offers in the matchup. Also, a difficult card for people to play against. The new sorcery from Core, I believe it's Core 21. It's either that or Jumpstart. But let's say it's Core 21. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But lots of decks will be looking to abuse that. Though decks that can cascade into it may end up proving to be better than decks that just use Snapcaster. Pile's going to be looking for a turn 1 Goblin Lackey or Aether Vial. It's really the hallmark of a keepable hand for Goblins. There are some hands that are keepable without it, but in this matchup, I would tend to think it'd be tough to come up with a hand that would be keepable without one of those two, just because of how good Dreadstill can be in the early game. You really need something solid. You can't just keep a slower, mid-rangey type of hand, given that you can get completely stomped. Looking to do like a turn 2 Mog War Marshal into like a, Matron for value. I mean, it's not going to do. A Vial off of basic Mountain, and that is what I'm talking about, versus a Delver of Secrets, and this is a firefight here. Basic Island as well for Ben. Cavern of Souls, an excellent addition to Pile's mana base. However, he's thinking about this Pyroblast, whether to keep this up or not. Cavern not going to be able to use it. We've got a Delver of Secrets flipping to a Lightning Bolt. Very good news for Ben. 3 damage in the air. And Pyroblast actually going to take it down before it connects. And Ben going to Stifle Dreadnought now that Pyroblast has been cleared. Will Pile have an answer to this 12/12? Taps. Puts in a Crater Maker. That is absolutely another answer. And it is used to take out the 12/12. Yeah, Crater Maker, Trash Master, Sting Scourger. There's so many ways to potentially deal with that 12/12. Crater Maker, one of the most impressive additions to Goblins as of late. Caracas. Matron. Gonna come in off of Aether Vial. And Ben... What is Ben doing? Is he stifling the Aether Vial activation? Huh. I would have imagined he would have stifled the Matron's ETB trigger. If I remember this night correctly, and it was some time ago, I believe this may have been a deck that Ben was just borrowing. Actually, based off of that Volcanic, that would definitely be the case. So Ben actually playing this deck for the first time. He's a accomplished Modern player that occasionally gets to play some Legacy. And looks like have some fun while he does, as Dreadstill is definitely a wild ride. Vial up to 4 now. Wasteland, an answer to this Factory. And now another Crater Maker. This one can take out the Delver. Sends for 1. Delver not going to flip here. Thinking about whether he wants to sacrifice the fetch land and get a fresh card on top. Opts to keep the card. Stands up Factory and sends for 2. Which does connect. Now a Lightning Bolt targeting the Crater Maker, who will in turn be thrown at the Delver. A 2-for-1 favoring pile, which is exactly the type of thing that Goblins is going to want. And we've got a Delver being played, and now a Krenko, and that is enough for Ben. He has no more answers. That Lightning Bolt coming out of his hand feels especially bad after seeing Krenko, as that guy just runs away with games. Actually had him as my commander in a Goblin deck that I had built after accidentally building too many high-powered commander decks. I decided I was going to build Goblins, have it be not very good. I wasn't going to play all sorts of crazy combo enablers. It was only going to be Goblin-themed, and I had Krenko as my commander, and it ended up being way too good. Like any type of casual players that I ever sat down with just completely extinguished any amount of fun that they might have with an insane amount of Goblins. And, it gets to the point where you actually need a spreadsheet to keep track of it. It is madness how quickly it gets out of hand, just doubling and then doubling again. If I tell you I've got 5 Goblins and I double it 8 times, I mean, people just don't intuitively know how much that is. They couldn't even draw a picture roughly of how big that many nickels would be. I mean, we lack the kind of exponential thinking to actually map that out. If I said, take something and double it once, we can do that automatically. But if you say double something 8 times, I mean, we're really, really not good at that. And it just gets out of hand so fast. Anytime you're doubling, and that's why people love cards like Doubling Season in Commander, is because they get so wildly, wildly out of hand over the course of several turns, and Krenko does exactly that. Though to be fair, in a standard game of Legacy, a Krenko left unchecked is actually going to end the game pretty quick. It's not like you've got 40 life in a table full of a bunch of people to kill. I mean, you're just taking down one person. Krenko is happy to do that all by himself. I've even seen Reanimator players strip a Krenko out of hand and settle for just reanimating him on the first turn and just ride him to victory. We've got a Brainstorm in response to this Aether Vial. We've seen a Daze be tipped, so we can expect that's actually going to happen on this Vial, and it does. So Ben getting use out of that Volcanic Island before returning it to his hand. Now he replays it. Caracas, a pretty good indicator that Pile's mana base is likely garbage. It does not tap for any of the colors that are needed. And now a Standstill, a significantly better card when Aether Vial is not on the table. We've got a Pyroblast not allowing the Standstill, as Goblins really wouldn't have had much choice but to play directly into that. With that Factory on the table would have been a big problem, and now a Lackey and a Vial. Right now, this Mishra's Factory standing in the way of Lackey. Can Pile find a way past it? Not yet. A Delver of Secrets. And now another Lackey is vialed in. Goblin Lackey, so dangerous. Actually picked up a couple of new friends in recent printings. M21 and Jumpstart have printed some new goblins, which play very well with Lackey, as do really pretty much all goblins. And just YOLOing these goblin lackeys out there. There's got to be a goblin crater maker or something in response, or is this just a terrible error? Fatal push. Fatal push takes down a goblin lackey, and the other one is blocked. And that combat step was an absolute disaster for goblins. Pile not used to those early combat steps. It's one thing to swing with an Ice Fang Quaddle or Baleful Strix through the air unhindered each turn. Once you've got those blockers, it's going to require a little bit more careful planning, and that quickly unraveled. And now Stifle Dreadnought into a Goblin Crater Maker, which is mind-blowing because the Goblin Crater Maker could have saved that last combat step. There's no way Ben possibly could have imagined that Crater Maker would have been in hand. 3 damage coming across. The way that that previous combat step was played, throwing those lackeys in the trash, absolutely doesn't look anything like a Crater Maker could be anywhere near Pyle's hand. Let's see if he's playing 3D chess or 5D chess. Vile ticks up. Doing an awful lot with a very weak mana base so far. Another Mog War Marshal, and that's going to muck up the ground. Delver just refusing to flip. 3 mana for a Scroll of Fate. And now we see a Krenko and a Matron. Another lackey. And Krenko's going to be able to come in during the end step. Scroll of Fate manifests. That's going to be able to make a stream of 2/2s. However, that does not compare with the army of 1/1s that Krenko can make once he gets an untap step. If Ben doesn't have a bolt, it's gonna be graphic. Dreadnought flips and pushes through 12 damage. Wasteland takes out the Caracas. Really hasn't been much use anyways, and now Krenko does land. And Krenko can make so many goblins. He's going to tap for 8 goblins. This Dreadnought potentially going to see some serious gang blocking. Delver flips. And Krenko's going to make a ton of guys here. No Vial activation. So we've got 12 goblins and then some. Factory has to be blocked. Going for Xaxes here. Oh, and it's another Dreadnought. And that is the match. So Dreadnought flipping up. He had both of them in hand. Scroll of Fate showing some serious teeth. That's a new commander card from last year. And I think that's the first time that we've really seen it shine on camera. I hope you guys enjoyed that one as much as I did. That was a surprising victory there for Dreadstill. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.